Hello, my name is Chatelier. Welcome back for another episode of Victoria 3 as Merina Kingdom. In previous episode we grabbed Zanzibar finally. We did briefly hit 100 million GDP, but we did dip a little bit below, but we're not actually that far from becoming one of the top 10 at this stage. We just need like, I don't know, 20 million and we might be there. And considering how much oil and coal we're building, that's probably not going to be that far off. Plus we're getting the reinforced concrete very shortly, which is going to increase the throughput of the construction a lot. Or construction industries a lot, and that should increase the GDP alone a little bit. Plus, you know, that means that we can build the things that we're making a lot faster, which also should be a pretty good boost there. So now we're getting the identification documents. So what was it that it was spreading in society? Oh, steel frame buildings. Actually, that's not a bad one either. I'm going to go for that one then first, and then identification documents. And then after that, maybe something in the production. What is it actually spreading right now? Well, I suppose it hasn't started spreading anything yet. So I guess that's a bit of a moot point then. Well, we can afford waiting. So in terms of population, we are now number 15 worldwide. Not exactly quite as high as I was hoping it to be, but it's good enough for now. We've got, oh, the literary rate is actually going up very rapid, well, somewhat rapidly now. It's already 55%. Admittedly, we're number 88 worldwide, so we're not particularly high in that regard. But now the construction speed is definitely, I mean, actually, let's have a look. Oh, it's minus 65% construction efficiency in Yemen. Oh boy. Ranger to Somaliland. So, okay. I mean, if Somaliland gets more people, that's probably fine. There's a bit of a lack of people in there, quite frankly. So there's definitely work to do. And how much is it? Oh yeah, that is actually more than doubling the pop increase there right now. That's quite nice. Right, so we're not quite over the 100 million point there yet, but oh, and now we're losing 65,000. Okay, let's have a look at the, well, I suppose a lot of that is just the increased construction cost. Yeah, we're spending 100 and yeah, so if and when we're done with the construction, that will allow us to then, oh right, now the coal mines are going to be done a lot faster than a lot of the other stuff, so this should be increasing, first of all, the need for workers in here, although not really that massively yet, but it is improving. And we are also making quite a good amount of coal in here, so I suspect that that is at least going to reduce some of the coal deficit that we have in the market. Although, well, a little bit. I mean, the market price isn't that high. Compared to something like automotives or oil, it's quite a reasonable price at this stage. Admittedly, with the market access issues... Oh, right, that actually is fine. Okay, so we just need to improve the infrastructure levels in Zanzibar itself. That seems to be the issue. We've got 2 levels of ports. I suppose we could easily get another few without too many issues there. Of course, it does delay things a little bit, but that'll be fine. The radicals we are slowly shedding off from the recent conquest. We've still got 6 million, and we were below 5, or below 6 million, something like 5.5 million. Oh, Germany is improving relations with us. Okay, we might actually do that back towards them. They are protective towards me. That could definitely help. I mean, I don't suppose France would be willing to give us independence. Whoa, is France already... Oh, right, France is fighting a war. Okay, so I can't probably demand it quite yet then. But that's something that we might have a look. I mean, I don't think they'd be giving us independence. And we don't really need to have the independence, but... Oh, there we go. Now we're over 100 million. And the literary rate is definitely improving. Now, is there anything else that we need to worry about? So the tax or market access, Gondo and Zanzibar are having a bit of problems there. Opium is expensive, military goods, government goods, oil is still expensive. Insufficient construction for investment pool. I mean, the investment pool is 40. Okay, it's just getting crazier and crazier. Okay, well, in this case, then I suppose what I could do. I'm just going to get another 2 construction sectors over there. And another 4 over here. It's going to cost us a lot initially. But then we can construct all the things that I'm constructing for myself a lot faster. Well, a decent bit faster, although we can probably get another building or 2 going at the same time. And then that means that the coal mines are going to be done quickly, then the government administration is going to be done quickly, so we'll be able to reduce the tax waste a decent bit. All discovered in Libya, alright then. And then we'll also get the barracks in Zanzibar, as well as the ports there, and many other things. So that is going to speed up things quite nicely. And also it means that the investment pool is not going to be growing quite as quickly. As soon as we're done with the construction that we need to do, then it's basically going to start paying off the debt very, very quickly. By virtue of using the investment pool up. But I think I'm definitely going to be switching for the next playthrough, which I think is probably going to be at Mexico. Which was suggested by the comment section in an earlier episode. So yeah, we're probably going to be playing as Mexico after this in the new patch. And what we'll do is we'll try to destroy USA. I don't think we initially need to go to Alaska, but then we'll also probably try to forge a bit of an empire down south as well. So at least take Central America up to Panama. And then maybe a bit further, I don't know exactly. We could probably try to just unite the entire America, but that might be a bit beyond the reach. Or beyond the scope of that playthrough, but we'll see where we get to. But in that one, we are going to stay independent, so we don't need to worry about the market acting weird or anything like that. And it looks like the radical numbers haven't dropped down too much anymore. But how's the standard of living now in here? Oh, it's 14.3. I mean, that's not bad for Zanzibar, considering that we start at 10. So that is definitely an improvement there. Steel frame buildings is going to be done soon. Oh, and that's going to increase the construction speed even more. It's probably going to get us to like several hundred extra. Alright then. I mean, I suppose we could have a look at the construction. So it goes from... it would be an extra 500 construction, apparently. Roughly speaking, anyway. Regardless, that seems quite nice. I mean, it's going to cost us a lot, let's be honest. But at the same time, the extra construction that we're going to do is... Then after that, we'll get the identification documents for a little bit extra taxes. I mean, if we do have a look at the taxation capacity issues, so South Madagascar and North Madagascar have a bit of problems. Oromia, Amhara, and Somaliland have problems. Now, to be fair, these are being built in Amhara, so the Amhara tax issues are probably not going to be there for much longer. Let's be honest. And we're still slowly but surely gaining some more loyalists as well. So we might actually get to the point where we have more loyalists than radicals. Also, let's double check if there's any... We could try going for the last fair, but that means that we can't downsize the non-government building, so I don't know if that's the best option, quite frankly. What about changing the... Oh, it wouldn't radicalize anyone anymore. Freedom of conscience. Let's try and pass that one. It's been a while since we tried it previously. Now, admittedly, it's going to cause a bit of issues, and that's going to reduce the tech spread a bit, but we're mostly relying on the innovation anyway, so that's not really that bad. And looks like the government administration buildings are done, so yeah, now we're losing a lot less tax money due to the lack of bureaucracy anyway, and we still need to get a little bit more, but that is underway. And then I suppose another thing that we are losing a little bit because is the turmoil in a few places. Although there's not too much turmoil, it's around like 30% in these three states, and Zanzibar probably has a bit more. Yeah, it's well, it's not that much more actually. But now that we've got that, let's go ahead and switch the construction. Now that's going to require a lot more glass, a lot less fabric and wood, and iron. More explosives, but that's fine. And more tools and steel. And that is 500. Okay, so that's a 500 total construction speed. Alright then, well, now we're losing a lot of money again, but that means that the investment pool isn't growing quite as much. And I suppose that does... Oh, we're running a little bit low on the amount of things that we need to construct here. That's actually fine. Then that means that we can start using the private sector just to... Or rather just, you know, utilizing the investment pool at that point. Ah, there we go, so we've got a bit of extra bureaucracy. Let's have a look at the market. So these are unproductive trades. That seems quite a small trade, so we can cancel that one and that one. And then potential for export. There is groceries, might be... No, there's not really enough there. Now, admittedly, I don't have access to all the marketplaces. Is there anything else? I mean, oil, we could... Japan does have a tiny bit of oil. It wouldn't be a lot of money, but, you know, we'll import that. For now, and then fine art. We get pretty good money from buying it from the British. We'll do that one. Germany and Russia have signed a peace now. Are they still at war with Britain, though? No, I don't think they are. So I don't know who won and what. At least the war for them is over. Which doesn't really do much for us. Let's be honest. Oh, decisions available. Oh, we can serve a skyscraper site. Oh, but that's 500 bureaucracy. Right, I forgot that this was a thing. Where do we have this, actually? I'm guessing it's probably in our capital. Urban centers 20 or higher. Well, I suppose we've got a few options for that then. But we would need a bit more bureaucracy. A lot more bureaucracy. Oh, but now we're making a lot of money since we're... Right, first of all, we're going to be using the investment pool probably a lot more now. I suppose I could try increasing the government administration slowly but surely in places, like built one at a time, so as to not make a deficit, but at the same time, we've got 600 total construction now. Okay. It's pretty decent improvement compared to what we had before. And the GDP hasn't really gained that much traction yet. The literacy rate at least is going up. 55.8% now. We are still we're number 81 worldwide. I don't think there's been that many nations destroyed, so it is just getting better and better. But how is the top 10 in... Oh, we're number 12 in the GDP now. Only 12 million behind Great Qing. Getting these railways and a few other things, but I think now the private sector taking over the construction is... That's going to expand things a lot, let's just say. So I'm expecting by the end of this episode, at least, we should have probably somewhere around 120? No, not necessarily that much. At least 110 million GDP, which would get us pretty close to the top 10. Actually got a bit of a deficit, or lacking a tiny bit of authority. It's not too bad, though. But there's something to keep in mind. There's a fairly high support for preserving the state religion as a movement, but I'm trying to pass the freedom of conscience regardless, because that would be quite useful to do. I don't suppose there's a lot of areas that... I mean, if we have a look at the map, is there anything else? Benin, are you part of anyone's... You're not part of anyone's market, you don't have any... Okay. How much of an army do you have? A lot of conscripts. Conscripts... Oh, wow. Trench infantry, machine guns, motorized reconnaissance, and no artillery. It's an interesting mix, let's just say. A very interesting mix. Is France part of any wars right now? If I was to have a look at if they'd be willing to grant the independence. So, how much is it? It's minus 135. Even if the obligation is not really all that much. I mean, they've got a lot stronger army, to be fair. We could probably increase the army size that we have to some degree. So, hold on, I mean, we've got a total... So, we've got 5 battalions here, so that's a total 60 in Ethiopia right now. It's going to get the barracks built fairly quickly in here. That's going to cost us a bit, but we can get up to 80 total in Ethiopia, and then 30 in Zanzibar. So, that's 110 battalions. It's not enough by any means, but it is getting us a little bit further along the way. And with the amount of construction that we can do right now, those are going to be done very, very rapidly. Oh, right, there was still the motor industries as well that was underway. But yeah, a lot of these barracks are done in a matter of a couple of weeks. I mean, they usually don't take all that much to build anyway, so I suppose that's not really a wonder. In Marsher. Right, we do the gamble again. I'll just take the minus 10%. I'm going to say to gamble. Well, we failed. I mean, that was to be expected, or that was the more likely outcome, let's just say. So the identification documents, after that, we could get the monitors for the slightly better ships. I would try getting through the... Oh, the Modernization might not be too bad, but the statistics would lead to the trench works. Through the electrical telegraph, so that would be one option. The bolt action rifle, so that would allow us to produce more small arms, but that's not necessarily something that we need right now. Another option is, improved fertilizer. Actually, we could go for that one. And after that, maybe start working towards the electrical generation. Or threshing machine, that's also an option. Well, we'll see what is going to be pertinent at that point. It's going to take a while anyway. Now we've got a total army size of 99 battalions. Of course, it takes a while for them to hire everyone in there, so that's probably part of the reason. We are getting a lot of radicals, and it's probably because of... Oh! Potential for revolution. I can only go up to 50 right now, but that would be most of Ethiopia seceding. That would be bad. Now, luckily, it's only going to go to 50% right now. Who deserves the credit? Not the landowners. suppose the farmers deserve the credit. So now we're making £40,000 per week, thanks to utilising the investment pool a bit more. Admittedly, we've got 7.5 million credit to pay off, so it's going to take a while before we are debt-free, and I'm currently paying £24,000 per week on interest rate. So that's already quite a sizable amount there, but looks like the max innovation that we have is... yeah, it's capped to 134.08, but every time... or not every day, but like probably every month the literary rate goes up a tiny bit, which does give us a bit more innovation. And we're already at 105 GDP, or 105 million GDP, that is. Still about 10 million behind the Great Jing. Things are slowly getting better, at least. And the motor industry in Zanzibar are almost completed. But yeah, now we're making 75,000 per week, since we're not really constructing anything. And I suppose the construction cost may have gone down a little bit. Okay, so France is going to conquer something in here. They're going for basically the Shanghai area, or Suzhou. And return British East Angola. So they are fearful. The British are going to be a little bit busy with that. But the British aren't the one that are protecting Portugal anymore. It's the Austro-Hungarians. So I don't really think I could go for Portuguese colonies or something like that, unfortunately. But I'd say we've done a decent bit of expansion in this playthrough. I mean, not massive amounts, but, you know, overall, not too bad for a nation that started with only 3 techs. At the start of the game anyway, so, you know, we managed to do fairly well. I mean, a lot of it is probably thanks to the fact that we've been in the French market, although it has probably sort of hindered us in few cases as well. But overall, that has given us access to, like, silk and a few other things that would have been a lot more difficult to do otherwise, especially until we managed to open up the markets enough to be able to trade. We are losing a bit of loyalists, though, as well, and we're getting a lot of radicals, probably mostly due to, well, the freedom of conscience law trying to pass. Not that it's really passing, mind you. As the investment pool, there's 45 million in there. It's going down a lot per week, to be fair, but they're not utilizing all of it. I suppose one thing that I could do is get another government administration in here in the meanwhile. That's going to cost me a little bit, but I suppose that's at least going to allow us to sort of utilize as much of the construction capabilities that we have. So tax capacity, so Southern Madagascar could actually use a bit of a boost as well to that. Let's get another one in there, so that's going to get us to 10. I was going to try to get the bureaucracy high enough so that we can maybe do the skyscraper thingy. Not entirely sure where it would be. I mean, Amhara is one option. It's probably going to be in our capital, to be fair. With 33 urban centers there, or 27 in Southern Madagascar. So there is plenty of options, I dare say. Ooh, available to... oh, right, that's this subscriber server site. I mean, to be fair, we could probably do that already. It's going to cost us quite a bit in taxes, but we've got pretty good income overall. So now it started this one. It's going to take 2 years. But by the time that is done, I mean, we'll probably have a little bit more bureaucracy by then. But then once it's done, it's just going to be freed up again, so we don't need to worry about it. And then we can build up the skyscraper somewhere. I don't know where they're doing it, though. But I suppose, you know, we'll figure out eventually. So the identification documents are going to be done in 2 weeks. And after that, we should be getting a bit more taxes. Not necessarily a massive amount of taxes, but a little bit more. And then we'll go for the improved fertilizer finally. So that's going to allow us to get the better fertilizer stuff in the chemical plants. Public address goes awry. I guess we won't pass that then. We have known. Right, we'll just stop there then. Enjoy the harmony that we have. There we go. So more taxation capacity. So now we're making 76,000 per week again. It's pretty good, even though we got a minus 300 bureaucracy right now. I mean, it's not going to take too long to be built. And the revolution should be slowly going down again. What are we getting in the military? We were getting the monitor. We could probably do that one. And then go something in the production. Or in the society, it was the pan-nationalism is pretty good as well. We'll go for that one next, or after the monitor, because I'm sure that the monitor isn't going to take all that long, all things considered. It's probably going to be practically done by the time we get through this one. So now we're making 82,000. I mean, suppose we're paying a lot of the debt right now. We're still paying 26,000 per week on interest, almost 27,000. But if we have a look at these, or how quickly is it going? Oh, and now we're no longer paying the 17,000. Right, I forgot that. So the interest rate is like every week it's going down fairly good amount. I mean, admittedly, we're making 100,000 per week, so I shouldn't really be that surprised that it is paying off a lot of the. Oh, and we've managed to get some of the bureaucracy now, so that's helping. Right, let's actually have a look at the. So this would probably have us two. Although actually, Romeo could use a bit of bureaucracy, so we'll build another administration center there. I think. It's going to cost us a little bit, but that's alright. So we're at 113 million GDP. We're number 11 right now, just behind Great Qing. It's actually potentially less than a million difference between us. And since we've got a lot of... Oh, Liberal Party has been formed. Okay, let's have a look at the parties then. We'll just wait. There we go. So Agrarian Party is landowners and rural folk. Okay, Conservatives are the devout. Liberal Party is intelligentsia. Free Trade Party is the industrialists, and Radical Party is the armed forces. Okay. Interesting. So right now, Liberal Party is going to be the biggest one. I think it's probably going to be something like Liberal Party and maybe the Agrarian Party that are going to be the government, or maybe Liberal and the Free Trade Party. One of those two is probably going to be the government. Okay, now we're regaining some of the loyalists at least. Oh, but the legitimacy is a bit low. Okay. Let's actually have a look. Who do we have in the... Right, we've got 3 different parties in here, so that probably has a bit of an impact. And we've got a lot of radicals, although those numbers should be going downwards again. And standard of living is almost 15 for us. I mean, that's pretty decent. Could be better, of course, but we're not really... I mean, we are definitely industrializing. There's no denying that. And if we have a look at the GDP, it has been soaring quite a bit for the past, I don't know, 20 years. So there's definitely been a lot of good improvements in our nation during that time. Now we're making 120,000 per week. Damn, we're just getting all of it almost. There's still a little bit of tax deficit in there, but it's not too bad. It's 27,000, so it's a relatively large number for a small nation. But for our economy, it's not really that bad. We've got low market access in a few places. So Madagascar and Zanzibar. Oh, we can support more interest. Yeah, we can have 6. Okay, well, let's put interest in Niger over there. So we could, in theory, do a war in Benin or Oyo or something. I don't think we will, but in theory we could. Although, well, I suppose we don't have the interest in there yet. And I think it's probably going to be better for us to just sort of hold on to this area rather than start spreading even further. And then if we somehow get pulled into a war near the last 10 years, then we'll have a lot of problems defending everything. Oh, there we go. Number 10 worldwide. Oh, yeah, in terms of GDP. So, that's pretty good. So now to get to number 9, we need to get another 12 million GDP, which I'm sure that we are going to get, judging by the amount of construction that we're doing. And we've still got over 43 million in the investment pool. But that's not too bad. That glass input in, okay. So we need a lot more glass. At this stage, I might do some of that manually. Oh, it's already queuing up some of there. Alright, then, so now we need explosives. Okay, I mean, we do got some chemical plants. I suppose they might be hiring now a little bit more. I suspect that it's just... Oh, is there a problem with the... There is a bit of a problem with market access. Okay, that is definitely due to the shipping lane problems. But I suppose it's probably France versus Britain again. Oh, and that's probably one of the things. We have a lot of inactive trade routes right now, which we are paying for in terms of bureaucracy. We're not getting any money out of it. Right, so we'll just close those for the time being, I suppose. We can maybe activate those later on. So it looks like the French are actually conquering a decent bit of land over here in Africa. I don't know if there's a lot of resistance in there, to be fair. Still making 120,000. I mean, the interest rate is now only 15.7 thousand. Okay, make that 15,000 pounds per week. So the amount of money that we still owe is 3.2 million. That is a lot better than what it used to be. So much better that I'm going to lower the taxes. Oh, partisan papers. Sure, Free Trade Party can get a bit more support. Let's see, Free Trade Party and Liberal Party would be 48% total. I mean, it's not the worst. Might not be the best either, to be fair. Okay, so now we're back to number 12 worldwide in GDP. Probably mostly because of the trade sort of stopped. And that did stop, or reduce the standard of living a lot. I mean, I suppose the war is also having a bit of an impact there. Although we're not directly at war, but the being in the French market, which is currently at war against the British market, so to speak, it's not necessarily great. And we did just gain a lot of radicals, didn't we? From somewhere. I'm not actually entirely... Oh, there's a movement for universal suffrage. Would that radicalize anyone? No. We'll lose another 50 authority, but that's fine. Sure, we could probably go for that one. Or try to, anyway. I don't know if it's going to pass or anything, but we'll give it a try. I mean, it's 34%, so it's got a pretty decent chance of at least passing, although the chance of it being, or advance, actually, 14% chance of advance. Okay, so that's actually a pretty decent chance overall. And there we go, improved fertilizer. Let's have a look at the chemical plant first. So we can go for the improved fertilizer in here, so that's going to be a massive amount of fertilizer produced. It's going to increase the iron consumption a little bit, but also makes the payment in there a little bit better. And then we can also turn these now into publicly traded. So that should give us a lot more capitalists. Now there's also the covert markets. I mean, no, the class price is so high that I don't want to switch away from that. Let's actually have a look at the class production. So, is there... Right, there's the automatic bottle blowers, which reduces the labor use a lot. But that's not really something that I need to worry about too badly. Although, did we have... Well, first of all, let's go quickly through the farms as well. Start increasing the productions in those. Gonna increase the fertilizer consumption a lot, that's for sure. So the food industry... Oh, right, that's automated bakery. I suppose the coal price isn't that bad, so we could, in theory, institute some of the water tube boilers again. It would require a bit more tools and coal, but it's not that bad. The tooling workshop, we would do that same... Okay, that would be a lot of labor, so... You know what? We'll do that at least in some places. Like in Yemen, I believe there's still quite a deficit of workforce in there. So over here, I'm just going to quickly go through Yemen, so... At least the tooling workshop. So that's going to reduce the labor need by 24,000. So there's about 1/3 of the workers are now sort of kicked out of there. For the time being, anyway. Textile, well, that's already using the stuff. The glasswork, we don't have anything in there yet. The paper mill, I suppose, I could use the water tube boiler. Reduce the labor use a bit further. Well, I suppose most rest of this is pretty much good as is. So that's going to start reducing the labor use in here. I'm supposed... Oh, there we go. Election done. So Liberal Party, Agrarian Party, Radical Party. Let's have a look at the government. So we can get... Oh, Intelligentsia and Trade Units. Oh, those are part of the Liberal Party then. Oh yeah, they do want to join the Liberal Party. We technically speaking have the armed forces in there as well. Do something like this. So now we've got the government support for the universal suffrage in there. Still making some money. I mean, we're not doing a lot of construction work ourselves, so that's a part of the risk. Oh, wow. Investment pool is changing by 186,000 per week. Now, to be fair, it's already 1923, so there's not that many years left of the playthrough. And the GDP is now 116 million. We're still only number 11th worldwide. Oh, fascist France? What? Oh, yeah. Okay. So I suppose if they weren't a thing, I should be within the top 10 again. I'm sure that that revolution will be over eventually. I don't suppose I could... Ooh. So France, if I was to ask for independence, we'd have to face a lot of people in there. I don't think they'd be willing to take that deal either yet, so I guess not yet then. We're getting the monitor, and after that we'll be hopefully getting the pan-nationalism, and after that we could maybe get the Roosevelt engine. Not getting that one, and then maybe the electricity. So we'll finally get that. Because it's been a while, I mean it's already 1923 and we don't have electricity, so we're a little bit behind. But at least our innovation has been pretty decent, but of course the tech spread wasn't all that great for at least the first half of the playthrough. But anyway, it would appear that we are actually out of time for this episode, so if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, got the links down below in the description, but other than that, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, bye bye.